Hey guys, it's LB Ninja 7. I'm bringing you another Mistweaver video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you play Mistweaver, you've landed in the right place. And if you're coming back, good to see you again. Hopefully you're subscribed and you're getting these notifications. But today I have a quick little discussion video. One thing that has kind of been on my mind a lot lately, because it's kind of important for the survival of our class. We're kind of seeing these numbers that I don't think Mistweaver's ever seen before. I don't think they've ever been this strong. Because right now we are like a force to be reckoned with when it comes to HPS. Yet still we aren't meta. We're not meta. We're not even being talked about being brought onto a world first team or top of the Mythic Plus leaderboards, or we're not being, and I can't even get into a raid group right now. My raid just disbanded, and although I think I perform pretty well, I don't think people want a Mistweaver just because there's this stigma that they're not quote meta. So today I want to talk about things that WoW could change, that could bring us more into the meta. I think some of these changes could be slight tweaks, and it would push us way over the top. That's how strong we are. We just need one little thing to change. So first off, I want to get this one out of the way because it's kind of the obvious one. If you look at the meta healers in Raid and even in Mythic Plus, we got Resto Shaman, we have Holy Paladin, we have Disc Priest, and then I would probably argue that we're probably next in line. But those three have kind of sat at the top for all of Shadowlands. So one thing that they all have in common is that they have a raid-wide damage reduction cooldown. They all come in different forms, but they all can, instead of just healing damage that's already done, they can reduce incoming damage, which is super important. It's so much stronger than healing. Like, you could heal for 10k or you could heal for 5k and reduce damage for a lot, and people are wanting that damage reduction. And the reason why is because if you think about it, during World First, the guild's gear is so low, so their stats are very low, while the boss's stats are scaled for higher gear, so they have very high stats, the boss does. So if you could scale off of that boss's damage rather than your own stats, then that's a big benefit. So that's why reducing their damage, or how much damage you take, is more valuable than healing the damage already done. So that's one thing that they could do, and there's a lot of different ways that they could do this. They could add a little component to Ring of Peace, which has no raid utility whatsoever, but we still have to take it because there's nothing on that row. But Ring of Peace, even the name of it kind of says like, oh, just stand in the ring and it'll be peaceful, like you're going to take less damage. So, but the problem with that is that that's kind of already been done with Barrier from Disc Priests and Spirit Link, giving 10% damage reduction from Resto Shamans. So that's kind of been played out. And also there's the issue that you run into with Windwalkers and Brewmasters also having access to it. So it would have to kind of have like a special component for, or maybe it could even be a talent for Mistweavers, but that kind of collides with it already being a talent. But so that's one way that they could do it, but that's kind of played out. But then also I was thinking, Life Cocoon is such a sweet ability. It basically saves one person. It's kind of like the perfect mix between Lay on Hands from Holy Paladins, or Paladins in general, which fully heals someone, but it has a long cooldown, and then it's kind of like a little mini Spirit Shell for one person where it just applies a giant shield. So it's a very cool way to save one person in raid when they kind of mess up or just get chunked. And I was thinking that would be a little broken. That would be very broken on the whole raid. So I was kind of wanting to combine this with the Brewmaster ability, where I'm pretty sure it's called Transcendence, but they take like 50%. They basically can't do anything until they're hit, and when they're hit, that damage is reduced by 50%. And I was thinking, man, this would be such a cool ability for Mistweavers if we could just kind of go into, it could be called like Zen or like meditation or something cool and very like Mistweaver themed, where we kind of like put like a little cocoon around ourselves, but like a very light, like thin cocoon, not the big chunky life cocoon. And it kind of just like bubbles out, kind of like if you've ever played Overwatch, like Zenyatta's Transcendence. But we just go into this Zen mode where like everyone around us just takes less damage or something. They kind of get trapped in this like bubble of mist, and the boss, you know, the lore behind it could be like the boss gets lost in it and does less damage or something. But that could be very cool. And that's kind of like my ideas, or they could just add a whole new ability in general to Mistweavers. But I think the easiest way for us to get meta would be to gain some form of damage reduction. Those are just some of the quick ways to do it. I also have another way. I guess I'll go ahead and touch on it, but I'll kind of dip into it later on. But one thing that they could do, it kind of resembles Disc Priests have this talent where everyone that has their Atonement, which basically says like anyone who they've like healed or put a shield on in the past couple seconds, they get just a passive, like I think it's 3% damage reduction, which is pretty sweet. And like a lot of people enjoy taking that in raid because they feel useful. Like you just heal someone and then for the next like X amount of seconds they take less damage, and that's good. That's really good for prog. And I was thinking, how could we apply that? Well, we could have like some sort of passive or some talent where our mists, any of our active mists on someone, so it could be like Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, and then even like Essence Font maybe. Anyone who has any of those mists on them takes like, I don't know, like 5% less damage. That would push us so far over the top, it's not even funny. Like, I mean, 5% obviously would be pretty strong. But that would be so good, and I hate that Disc Priests have that as a talent because that would be perfect for us. I mean, they already have Barrier for damage reduction. We need that passive. So I think that could be a cool thing, you know, shifting around the talents. Anyone with your active mist could give us damage reduction. That'd be sweet. So that's kind of it for the damage reduction portion. Those are the obvious answers. But next up, I want to talk about our damage. We are supposed to be the damage healing class. We're supposed to be punching and kicking and doing a ton of damage. But that's kind of just not the case. We do less damage than Holy Paladins, and in AoE we do less damage than Resto Shamans, and we're kind of on par with Disc Priests, although that doesn't really make sense. They should be the top, honestly, but just because of how they work. But we should be doing more damage, and they gave us a buff. I think it was 9.1.5 when they added the Covenant Legendaries. No, maybe it was 9.0. I'm not sure, but at some point in Shadowlands, they gave our damage a buff. And it felt nice for a bit because we were still using Ancient Teachings, but it still didn't change the way we appeared in the meta. We still just aren't the damage healer class. We're still outshined by Holy Paladin. And I think they should really look into that. I think if Holy Paladins already have damage reduction and healing and damage, you know, all we have is healing, we should be the damage and they should be the damage reduction, if that makes sense. I think they could buff our spinning crane kick damage. They could give that like a 25% buff and we still would probably not be at the top of the damage. We would probably be up there with Holy Paladins, maybe not quite new Resto Shaman because they're kind of getting stupid with the damage, but we would be doing good amounts of damage in AoE, but still just something would need to change. Like maybe raise the damage of Blackout Kick or Rising Sun Kick. You can't really raise both at this point because I feel like they're kind of okay in the single target realm, but not enough to warrant us taking over one of those raid spots from like a Disc Priest or a Paladin. So maybe just buff our damage a ton to give us more of that need in raid for the healer damage because it's important, especially in prog. So that could be one way. So now I kind of want to get in. Those two are kind of like the obvious answers is buffer damage or give us a damage reduction, so we're on par with everyone. Now I want to get into like maybe a couple weird ones. I've been thinking the word revival. Why doesn't it revive someone? Like it's already a super strong cooldown. It's my favorite cooldown in the whole game. It's so good, and it's a great raid wide tool. It's very unique, but like druids have a battle res, and so do like a couple other classes, but that makes them unique. But what is different about Tranquility and Revival? Well, I guess Tranquility you have to sit there and channel it, whereas Revival you can use it on the move. But they're just AoE HPS cooldowns. would it not be the coolest thing ever if every time you popped revival, it just res one person? If say you have like 5 people down, it just like auto res one of them. That would be so sweet. It would fit the theme. Obviously, reviving everyone like the old like Mercy from Overwatch thing would be like broken, reviving everyone with one ability. Uh, that's dumb. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just, every 3 minutes you pop revival and it could, maybe it has a chance to revive someone. That would be cool. Like a 33% chance to revive someone at random and not use a battle res. That could be very sweet. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Could put us over the top with revival. It would make us unique. Give the raid a chance at a battle res without using a battle res. And I think a lot of prog fights, losing one person could often be the difference between killing the boss or not. So that could push us over the top. That would be a very cool, and like honestly, it just makes sense. It would be a cool change to do. So yeah, that's adding revival to adding a revival to revival. Next up is a Mythic Plus change. Give us Throat Punch. Why do we not have it? For those of you who don't know, who don't play, who only play Mistweaver, both Brewmaster and Windwalker, so the other two monk specs, have an ability called Spear Hand Strike, where you punch someone in the throat and it interrupts them. So the other two monk classes have a kick or an interrupt, but we don't? That doesn't make sense. We have Fist too. If anything, I mean, like, we could use our foot, because we're, like, I just don't get that. Why can't we interrupt something? That is so dumb. We have an AoE stun, just like Resto Shaman. They have an interrupt, and we don't. And that's part of the reason why early Shadowlands, they were taken in a lot of groups, is because of their interrupt. It kind of baffles me why they just took that away from Mistweaver. I mean, I guess it's called Spear Hand Strike. No, that doesn't even make sense, because our hand gets in a spear shape when we spear their throat. We jab their throat. At first I was thinking like maybe it's because they use a spear. I don't know, but that honestly, to me, that makes no sense. Give us the throat punch, and that would just maybe get us into a couple more Mythic Plus groups. It kind of blows my mind that all of the HPS healers, that being Mistweaver, Resto Druid, and Holy Priest, versus all the reduction healers, which would be Holy Paladin, the 3 meta ones, Holy Paladin, Disc Priest, and Resto Shaman. They all have interrupts, but like Resto Druid and Mistweaver, like all of us kind of have the same issues, and it's like, just give us like one of those issues fixed, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's just a thought. Give us Throat Punch. That could help us in Mythic Plus. Another big one, and I'm sure you're all gonna go crazy about this one, because it is honestly our biggest issue, other than not having a reduction, damage reduction cooldown, is just reduce our mana cost. Like, what is this? We cast, let me swap specs again. Our abilities cost so much mana. Like, Enveloping Mist costs 2,800 mana. So almost 3,000 mana for one ability. Normally we'd never press this outside of, like, Yulon. But lately, like, to earn our raid spot, we have to be doing that dumb number of healing, and we have to be pressing renewing or Enveloping Mist. It's like, why did you make this such a good cooldown or such a good ability, but make it cost so much mana? It already has the drawback of having such a long cast time. But like, when will we press this outside of Manatee or Innervate? You shouldn't have a class that needs Innervate to survive, especially if they don't have it themselves. It just blows my mind. And then on top of that, Essence Font being 3,600 mana. Are you kidding? Like, I get it, it's a channeled ability, but it doesn't channel long enough for you to regen that much mana while you cast it, Like, it's so much mana that we have to use, and we have to spam these abilities. Now, I get it. They're kind of stingy with this. They gave us Manatee, like, sure, that cuts those in half, but we just blow through our mana in a raid fight. And I've gotten to the point when I do high keys in Mythic Plus, I have to drink or eat mage food between every single pool. Every single one. And I feel like I'm not even using all the mana I could have. Like, I'm not over-healing. I'm mainly pressing Spinning Crankcake, but I'll get to that. We use so much mana. It's so dumb. So just fix that. Like, reduce our mana cost. We will love it. Um, and I've thought of a couple ways to do this. They've reduced enveloping mist before, I think, at the beginning of Shadowlands, and that honestly didn't change anything. It was a very small change. So they could go that route again, or they could do another route. One thing that they could do is bring us more in line with like Resto Druid. Whenever I'm low on mana on my Resto Druid, I just sit there and I spam my damage ability, Wrath. It costs 100 mana. 100. So you are gaining mana as you cast this spell. It's great. It incentivizes you to do damage on a class that already does no damage. So it just gives you mana back for doing damage. It's great. So our damaging abilities. Tiger Palm does not cost any mana, which is nice. I like that. But Rising Sun Kick costs 750, so 7.5 times a Wrath. And Blackout Kick is also free. But Spinning Crane Kick costs 500. Just reduce the amount of mana that like Rising Sun Kick costs. Rising Sun Kick should be free. Spinning Crane Kick should be maybe like 100 mana, maybe free. I don't know, because it doesn't cast mana or cost mana when the other two monk classes do it. Why does it cost mana when we do it? You know? So that's just another thought. Maybe reducing the damaging abilities mana, and that could help us. But you gotta reduce these mana costs. They're kind of unreal. Another way to do this, a kind of more creative way, is, dude, just change our mastery. I mean, if you look at the mastery of all the other healers, they scale kind of exponentially. They get like super strong, and if they don't scale exponentially, it's because they scale off of like a very needed niche. So like what I mean by that is like monk or druids, they scale exponentially. Every hot that you have on a target, your heals will just heal more. So like the more you have on it, it'll just grow exponentially. But the other way, the ones that have like very needed niches is like Resto Shamans. They heal more the lower your target is for your mastery. So obviously, if someone gets really low, you want to burst heal them fully to full health. So that makes so much sense. Or like Holy Paladins, the closer you are to someone, the more you heal them. So it just like these make sense. Whereas ours, some of our abilities have a flat heal tacked onto it based on our mastery. That just does. It's not exciting. It doesn't like if I put my enveloping mist on someone, I want it to. It just, I don't know, just that mastery is not exciting. It doesn't really have any application other than the fact that it just does passive extra healing, which we don't need. So I would like to see it changed. Maybe change it to something a lot like, I know I keep bringing up druids because it's what I know. They have this one talent where every rejuve that you have out on someone, it reduces the mana cost of your regrowth. So I was thinking our mastery could be like some form of every mist that we have out on someone reduces our mana cost of maybe just like our Vivify or something. Like it could be something like that. Or our mana costs are reduced by X amount for however many mists we have out on someone. Okay, so that's enough rambling for this video. I just think I want to see us in the meta. I think that we have that stupid amount of healing. We're lacking something to push us over the top, and these are just my thoughts on what we could get. So if you have other thoughts on what we could get, I'm sorry, quickly, even our tier set, it gives us more base healing. Like we summon a little shrine, and everyone who stands in that shrine gets like basically our mastery. All of our healing is tacked on a little bit more. Like it just doesn't make sense. Why do you keep like I don't want to be I'm tired of being a master or a master of one. I want to be a jack of more than just one trade, you know? Like, I don't know. It's just... So let me know down in the comments what you guys think they could change or what you want to see come in 9.2. Maybe they haven't announced something that they're going to change. Hopefully that's the case. But I really want to see us in the meta, and I want to see you guys get into some strong raid groups, and I want to get into a strong raid group. So let me know down in the comments what you think. Go ahead, hit subscribe. We are at the last time I checked was 210. It's insane, dude. Keep up the support. You're helping me out so much. You're really keeping this channel going. And if you want to see more content, tell me what you want to see in the comments, and hit subscribe so I know that you guys are liking it. So I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.